Good evening, everybody. We're going to call the meeting to order. It's exactly 6 o'clock. Hello, welcome. Tonight is the Board of Finance regular meeting, Thursday, December 19. Is there any public comment, Gay?
No.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to start item number 2 on the agenda with the Administrative Officer's Report.
Thank you. I have your report through November of 2024, and it's an estimated surplus at the end of the year of a little over $100,000. That would leave us with a fund balance of $8.2 million, or a little above 14% at the end of the year. A couple of highlights. On revenue side, the interest income continues to be the big surplus generator. I would say probably around $200,000 surplus for the year. Sort of depends on how rates move in the next 6 to 7 months, but that's my estimate at the moment. The charge for services is a slight deficit of $50,000 at the transfer station. That's due to some of our tonnage down a little, but also some fee adjustments that we haven't done that we thought we were going to do in the budget process haven't been accomplished yet, so that's part of the reason for the deficit. And the other is a $40,000 deficit for building permits. But I'm sorry, the building permits was $50,000 and the transfer station is $40,000. Building permits will depend on our activity, and it could pick up if we get more activity on the Bradley Road site or in other areas.
Did it make it, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did it make a difference when we started charging for bulk pickup?
That definitely did make a difference.
Yeah, but not apparently enough.
Yeah, that's where, right, and that's where some of it's down a little. That's the
Yeah.
tonnage that's down a little, is bulk,
Okay.
but we're thinking of some other
I
ways
took
to.
advantage of it, thank you. Clean out,
But yes, that definitely helped,
yeah.
because we used to we used
I know.
to just collect around 50,000, and now it's 110, 120.
Oh, good.
So,
Okay, thank you.
okay,
Fees keep increasing on that too, Tony, no?
they do.
Mhm.
The
It's directionally correct.
tonnage fees
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
keep increasing. So we were at the 60s, now we're probably in the mid 80s.
Tell me, what specifically hasn't been adjusted in terms of the tonnage for the fees?
So one
And
is
why?
the how much we charge for solid waste has increased, so we have to increase that tonnage that we charge to the haulers. That's one thing that selectmen are going to be looking at,
Okay.
because we went from maybe $71 or $72 a ton to $86 a ton. It'll probably go up a little more next year, so we have to sort of keep pace with that. That's one fee. You know, we like Beth said, the bulky waste is another one we charged for, and we just have to make sure that's in keeping with the market.
So every time that adjusts, it has to be approved by the Board of Selectmen?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
The adjustment fees.
Selectmen set the fees. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're not currently charging for folks who come to the transfer station
Right.
and
I
for
was
solid
mentioning that.
waste.
That was the third one I was going to mention.
Interesting.
Ceremony.
Right. So some places charge like a fee for, like, so we charge when the haulers bring in solid waste, which is roughly 50% of the amount.
Oh, wow.
And but if you bring your own solid waste garbage to the transfer station, you don't get charged. Some places charge either a per bag fee or a flat fee per year for a permit fee, or other ways.
And by solid waste, we're talking like gutters and doors and like
No, that's
the big
bulky
stuff?
waste.
That's bulk.
Yeah.
So what's considered solid waste?
Garbage.
Just
Household-
regular garbage?
regular household
Got
garbage,
it,
yeah.
okay.
What's not recycled, right?
Okay.
Right, it's not
Okay.
recycled. And then recycling is another area we don't charge for. Not many places charge for recycling because you want to encourage recycling.
Incentivize it.
Right. So a lot of places don't charge for that, although the amount we pay for recycling tends to fluctuate. It's based off of the commodities market for some of the items that we recycle. Like cardboard, for instance, is always one that generates a lot of revenue. But if the cardboard market, changes, then amount we pay changes along with it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tony, did you any better when we separated out glass?
So glass is the, part of the reason why, I may be getting the exact percentage wrong, but there's at least 25-30% of our recycling goes back into the garbage waste stream. And a part of it's because of glass that breaks
Right.
when it's recycled. It's much better when it's separated.
Yeah, I
So-
just wondered, because they switched over to separating out the glass.
We have a pilot program where we separated it out, but it's not like required.
Okay.
But
So-
is it, I think, were you asking if it's actually bearing any impact?
Is it
as far
helping?
Oh,
as
not
finances?
really, because it's
No.
such a small
That's too
amount. Yeah.
And the haulers don't take it. They just dump it right in the recycle.
Right.
So I have to do it we schlep up there with a glass-only bucket,
Yeah.
whenever it fills up.
Sure.
Because otherwise it contaminates the whole issue.
So if someone throws in a broken glass in the recycle bin, that just goes directly
It
to,
goes into single stream, and then if it's in the truck or wherever, and it gets crushed and it breaks, then it gets all over this.
Yeah.
I was just curious, because don't we pay more for them to haul away the recycle than we do for the household trash?
You mean, the hauling fees are roughly the same, but it's the processing fee for the recycling that's more than the garbage, correct? I was just pulling it up here.
So all that work we did to convince people to throw things into the recycle bin.
Believe it or not, costs more.
Yeah,
That's the irony. And in some towns, there's a lot of confusion around it. And I'm trying to pull it up here. But some people think like if it's plastic, it must be recyclable, and they throw it in the garbage,
Right.
even though it's not,
Yep.
Right.
right? Or, here's the, so as an example, 22% of the stream is garbage that winds up back in the back in the waste stream.
That's actually better than the national average.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not horrible, but
The national average is like 88% of recycling winds up in landfill
oh really?
Yeah.
Well,
because of some of the same issues.
So I'll give you as an example here. We get credit for, like, aluminum is $1,000 a ton. I happen to think this is interesting. Cardboard is $90.
It's all right, it's all right, if you think it's interesting. Go with it, go with it.
It's $90 a ton,
It's
but
trash,
glass costs us money to get rid of. So,
Well, I know that when I go to the transfer station and I use the glass thing, there must be, people are doing it because you can hear the glass against
Right.
the
it's
glass.
usually,
Right.
it's usually full.
I mean, it's usually
I know.
quite,
Yep.
so be careful, people, when you're
Don't
tossing
put
it
your
in
hand
there.
in, right?
Right, don't put your
Right,
hand in there.
exactly.
So some of us are doing that, yeah.
But it's interesting, because I heard that if you really wanted to recycle the glass, you have to separate it out by color, so by all of us
You
throwing
mean
all of
red
this.
wine versus white wine?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you have to take the label off and everything. There's a lot.
Okay, let's refocus, guys. Let's get back to the,
So on
finance
one
report.
one more on a related note, I know you had reviewed the feasibility of styrofoam recycling
Yes.
in that machine.
yes, yes.
And how much it costs
Right.
versus, did we do any further like analysis of that, of whether how feasible it is, or is it just a
So once-
straight out of pocket cost that we
It's-
would have to bear?
Right, so far, the only place that does it was an out-of-pocket cost for them.
Okay.
And they said it was roughly the cost of a police car for them to do it.
Okay.
It's like 70,000, so it must be like $60,000 or something. And I couldn't find it that it was feasible for us to do that.
Yeah, because what they do is they then resell that as packaging
Right, correct.
to
Right,
Amazon or whoever else buys it.
right.
So I didn't know if they were doing that, or if they just, there was a market they sold it into, or I didn't.
I'm not sure,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks for looking into that, Tony.
Sure. On the expense side, really, the only two items that we're looking into and that have to transfer some funds for are electricity and natural gas. Electricity, as we know, there were some additional charges. The natural gas really depends on the winter, and so we're monitoring that, and we'll get back to you with any issues. But so far, the budget's in good shape.
Good. So you done with that?
Yep.
Okay. Anything you want to report on, either, the second item here is Woodbridge Board, but that's just for our information, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yep.
And the status of the audit?
The audit, as you know, is due the 31st, And we have a final draft that we're just working through some very minor edits to. I'm hoping to issue sometime, we're hoping to issue tomorrow, but it's most likely going to be either Monday or Tuesday or Friday of next week. And that's it, it's done.
So will we see that, will you report back in January?
January,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
And usually we have our audit, a representative of our audit firm will come to your meeting and
Okay.
report back.
All right.
As
sounds
the
good.
audit committee, they usually report to the Board of Finance.
Right. Anything else for Tony on that? Okay. On to funding requests. We only have one tonight.
Just one.
I will entertain a motion for line item, to approve line item transfer 2425-18 in the amount of $26,632.69.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Tony, you want to explain this for a minute?
This is for early voting costs in the town clerk and the registrar of voters budgets.
Which means that this is going to become a budget item,
Correct.
not a grant-funded
This will be an
item
annual
going forward.
expense.
If it stays the same, and we don't know the answer to that,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, early voting is not expected to apply to municipal elections though, right? It's only for state and federal?
Remains to be seen.
Right.
From what I understand, there's been a lot of feedback from all the towns to the legislature, is what you said,
Right,
so.
right.
they're
Well,
getting-
you
is
know,
it
what's
worth it?
most
Is it not worth
efficient,
it?
how
Yeah.
many days should it be, which days should it be?
It's
Yeah.
a lot of work and money, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are a lot of the collective organizations like SCROG and CCM and COST and those that are representing the municipalities in terms of what really worked and
Oh, good.
what
Right.
can be done. So
Not
there's,
so much whether or not to have it, but I think
Correct.
collectively everyone
How to
agrees it's a good idea to have it. It's
tweak
just
it.
how to, right.
Can I just say, I think that our registrars of voters did an amazing job,
agree.
and it was.
I agree. From someone who saw them every single day.
No,
I agree.
They are to be commended, whether it gets tweaked or not is a different issue, but it certainly was,
They were.
Agreed.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, tell us about the SharePoint file and document sharing, item number 4.
So the Board of Selectmen has been using SharePoint since probably beginning of the year, right, through the whole year. And it's basically an online filing system that all the members would have access to. And we would upload the documents for the board package in that SharePoint. And then, and that's how you would access the documents. And we would upload the documents, and then you would have access to them at that point. We also plan to do that with the budget as well. So you'd have it, everyone would
No
get the
more
documents.
5-inch books.
No more books.
I love it.
No more multiple emails with different attachments and all that.
Wonderful.
It'll be nice and organized
And you'll let
on
us
the
know how
SharePoint.
to do that.
Yeah,
at
it's
some
very
point
simple
then.
to
Okay.
get
I
access to
like
it.
simple.
You
Okay.
use it for the building committee, right? Do you use it for the building committee, right? Yeah.
Good.
And it means we have to bring our laptops.
Yep.
So you have to
Better
bring a
get it working.
laptop to your meeting, right?
Or you can
Going
Oh,
print
yeah,
it
we
at
use it
home if
too?
you want
Yeah,
a
yeah.
printed copy, you could print it
So
at
it's
home.
used pretty
We're
widely.
gonna bring our private home laptops here, hook up.
Well, you can print out what you want, but
Yeah.
it means that Gay will not be
No
giving
more
us a
email
budget
with the,
packet.
right.
Gotcha.
Right.
You just have
Anymore.
access to it. Oh, I get it. I'm
Right.
not
Yeah,
printing out a
you'd still have
5-inch book.
the option to print it yourself, right? But it's,
5 inches of, I don't
yeah,
think so.
that's
Yeah.
on
Or
you,
just-
right?
I'm so happy
Or if
to
you
be
just
done
want to
with
print the
that.
agenda,
Yeah,
you know, a couple key
Exactly.
Right, I mean,
pieces.
gotcha.
As chair of the
Right.
meeting, I prefer to have a printed agenda, but I don't need a 5-inch budget book
Yeah.
the way we've been doing it. Let's save some dollars on that.
I'm
and
excited about that.
I can't tell you how many 3-ring notebooks I managed to pilfer from the town finance department, but I usually bring them back, right?
So that's our plan. We have
Okay.
to thank
Good.
Allison for getting us set up on this.
Thank you, Allison.
Yep.
Excellent. If we sort of feel like we want to have a collective class on that,
I would love
might you
that.
be
That's a
willing
great
Certainly.
to
idea.
walk us through that?
Absolutely.
I love
One
it.
day,
Yeah, we'd
kind
be
of
happy
thing,
to.
so that we're all on the same page?
Yep.
Keeping in mind our collective age might require that.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want anybody to be intimidated by that. It's very much like ordinarily using a computer. The structure's the same. They designed it
I'm
to be
talking
s-
about
that
Beth
way.
here.
No, this is for all of us because
saying.
I know plenty of people younger than me that aren't good at using
I am
computers.
looking forward to learning something
Yeah,
new.
I mean,
I'm very excited.
I would feel more comfortable, I think,
Yeah,
if I
no,
had
I
a collective.
agree. I'd
Sure.
love to do that,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay,
and,
good.
and beyond that, if you need
You don't have
any
to
help
come.
or whatever, I'm always
Okay.
at your service to
Okay.
help.
You can bring it here and we can. you
And
can
maybe
log in and
Allison
set
would
it
walk
up.
us
And
through
Allison
it
will
kind
walk
of
you through
thing.
it,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, I
That'd be
agree.
great, that'd be great.
Excellent.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, I think we need to look at these meeting dates. Item number 5 on our agenda. This is for the budget process and also for 2025. Any comments or questions about any of them? I took a look at the first 6 months, looked pretty straightforward.
I agree. They're in my calendar. It looked fine.
Anybody else want to say
I
anything?
will say I didn't look at holidays, because I remember last year.
I
there wasn't-
checked a couple of holidays just to make sure there was no conflict. I think,
Yeah.
looks to me like it's all
Yeah, I
clear.
kind of scanned and I don't really know the Jewish holidays that are, I mean, I
Right.
know, and I didn't see any that fell on those days.
Nothing
and-
popped up at you? Yeah,
Right.
okay.
And the
okay.
regular holidays seem to, fit in
Well,
as well.
The important thing, I think, is for the budget meetings, that we have 4 set up, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
all on that week in January.
Gay, does it bear mentioning the February 12th date?
It doesn't, because I had this done before, I just found out about that.
Okay.
Would that be considered,
Well,
On
the
the
reason why
calendar?
we put these on your regular meeting dates is so they're all regular meetings, so you can change the agenda, without having to.
so can we vote to add
But I
that
think-
12th or
The 12th is
the tri-board?
a proposed date for
I'm
a
not sure it's
tri-board
set
meeting
yet.
with the finance.
Well, I think I spoke to Allison today.
Is that the date?
It's the majority in this board, that the 12th is the best day.
Is that their budget presentation to us? This
No,
is something
This is
different.
No,
a
this
tri-board
is
meeting
the-
for
for the
the
building.
feature feasibility study.
Oh, okay, okay.
I didn't get back to you with a date, but as far as I know, the 12th is fine. Is that technically your board?
It's the date of our normal Board of Selectmen meeting, yes.
Okay, so do we have to be noticed anyway as a meeting, or can we just be guests?
No, you would, if.
We have a quorum,
You have
so
a
we-
quorum, you
Right.
have to, correct.
You'll
Okay.
notice a meeting, yeah.
I mean, we're
The
not
only
voting
one
on
that
anything.
can't come, no, I think everyone could come on the 12th.
I can come any day of the month of February.
Dwight was not
I
available on the
wrote back to her and said
26th.
I'm free in February. Not.
I'm just double checking.
So just to be clear, does it need to be added to this? Or it's,
No,
it's,
I don't think so.
okay.
And that's February 12th at
So it would be a special meeting, it's more just to put
5
it on your
o'clock,
calendar.
6 o'clock?
So
6 o'clock.
Allison would give me any material that goes with that and I would get it to the Board of Finance.
Upload it to the.
6 o'clock, is that
And
what you're doing?
SharePoint.
6?
It'll be 6 o'clock, is that what we're saying?
Generally, the Board of Selectmen meetings start at 5, but the intent for the 12th was just to have 2 items. It would just be the tri-board meeting, and we would also, that would be the date that we actually discuss and what we're gonna propose for the budget. That's the time where we propose the budget. So those would be the only 2 items. So I think we would work it however it works best for the rest of the people who are gonna be here.
I'm gonna
Whether
put
it's
it
at
on
5
for
or
5,
6.
yeah. And then you can
If
just let
5
me
is
know.
better, that's
5,
great.
yeah.
If
Okay.
later is better, so be it.
So let me go back to this. Any questions, concerns, or issues for our proposed Board of Finance regular meeting dates, including budget, for 2025? Do we have to approve this?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So,
So
go ahead.
moved.
Second.
Any
We're
discussion?
gonna duke it out.
Any discussion? Any concerns? Any questions? All in favor? Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, so that's done. Okay. I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on November 21, 2024. This is the one that we Zoomed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Corrections, additions? Any changes?
Looked good.
Everybody in favor? Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, good. For Selectmen's report, Mika?
Thank you. I'll start off by saying today I attended the holiday luncheon at the Woodbridge Center. And it was just, the reason I mention it is because one of those things, it's been a busy month. And it was one of those moments where you just felt in the spirit of the holiday. They just did an outstanding job. And if you ever get a chance to do it, and as the events and the things that they're doing there, the folks, those are our seniors, our folks who are a little older in town. They're just a wonderful group, they're very cheerful and feel good. So it was just a wonderful thing to do today, and I thank the Human Services and the Senior Center for doing that. Most of you have received your revaluation letters, and all of you undoubtedly have, and there's been a number of discussions with different residents on that. The assessor's office has been helping as much as they can. Equality has gotten a considerable number of folks who they're setting up meetings with and trying to talk to, so the process goes on. It was significant. The average increase, Tony, keep me honest, is about 60% in terms of the overall revaluation increase. So, you know, folks are very concerned as to what it's going to do to their taxes. If your reval is significantly up, chances are your taxes not proportionate to what the revaluation is, but certainly you should expect an increase that's somewhat more substantial than somebody whose value did not go up. But it certainly will lower our mill rate, and it's really going to be contingent on the budget as to what the particulars are. So until such time as we know that, as you know, we're not going to be able to define specifically what the tax impact is to different people. But if you had a lower revaluation number, it's good. If you had a higher number, yes, you can expect that taxes might go up a little bit more than normal. So we've also started with the country club, the CCW master plan. We've officially kicked that off. We had what we call a technical assistance committee meeting about a week or so ago. Went very well. That was input from 8 boards and commissions, 8 commissions that actually provided input to the consultant, and they'll be doing that on a regular basis. Subsequently met with the Board of Selectmen, so they're on the road now. We're moving forward with this and trying to objectively identify the different options. And what I expect to come out of this is what I'm looking forward to the most probably is the market analysis that will supply us with some of the data that's required to really kind of evaluate the different options that may come up and to determine what the best direction for the town will be. So very much looking forward to this process. There was recently also a zoning amendment by the town TP&Z for a property, and it's actually for the amendments just amended specifically our regs as pertain to affordable housing, and as far as what the density is and some of the other components of that. And that was passed. And that is now more in line with what other communities have done. And the reason it was looked at was because since the changes were made back in 2021, we haven't had anybody submit anything to us. So it was pretty clear from that perspective that it wasn't something that was feasible for a lot of. So there was some consideration. Our town planner really weighed in on this as well. So it was nice that we had the resources and the ability, and the TPZ really took this to heart in terms of looking at it and identifying what would work, what could work here in town. So we're looking to see exactly what that brings in as a result of that. One of the things I mentioned last meeting, and I did finally get a final ruling from our town attorney, town council, as relates to Board of Finance participation on other boards and commissions. And at this point in time, whether it's a building committee or whether it's an actual committee, ad hoc committee, or whether it's a commission, Board of Finance is not able to participate on those as committee members. It's not to say you can't continue to participate as a liaison, which is probably what we'll do, particularly in those instances where the Board of Finance individual has been doing something for quite some time. Donovan on Beach Air Road, where obviously your expertise and your knowledge and your experience in terms of what you've been doing on there would be still valuable to those people who remain on. So in the instances where there are people who need to move off of it as a result of this, we will be replacing them with other individuals and to bring up to speed and move forward from there. They also indicated, our attorneys indicated that the same should be held true for the Board of Selectmen. So we're moving forward from that perspective as well. That's a little bit less definitive, only because the wording isn't as definitive in our charter. But based on the recommendation of the attorney, we are moving forward with modifying
So this is
that.
anything, ad hocs, building committees?
Correct.
And it was always thought it would be good to have someone from boards of selectmen and finance on those
Correct.
committees to kind of help guide the process.
And it's worked out very well for us.
Yeah.
It's worked out very well
Interesting.
for us. So again, we hope that we can continue under a liaison type of a role so that, like you said, Beth, that input would be still
Sure.
available in there. But in the meantime, for example, on those committees, they would have to move and we'll replace them with other members. So, and as I said, that was just really brought up, and that was a ruling that was brought down, so, once I learned about it, it's time for us to make the change.
I'm sorry, Mika, that's just Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen?
Correct. That is
So
correct.
TPZ doesn't have
Correct.
that?
Well, TPZ is different. The TPZ is the concern is more conflict of interest and things of that nature, and those still, but that doesn't change anything. So we are looking at everything that we're doing with all the different committees and commissions that we have to determine if there's areas where we should. And I have discussed that TPZ with others as well, with the attorneys, and there's some things that we may need to change from that perspective as well. But we're gonna go on the advice of our attorney and make sure we're doing the right thing, and that's really what it boils down to. So, there's a piece of property on 1875 Litchfield Turnpike that came up for sale. It was about $375,000, I think is what they were asking. It's, if I remember correctly, it's 28 acres. I can't remember the acreage, so don't hold me to that. But it's a large piece of property. It abuts a state park, West Rock State Park. It abuts the Darling property, and there are trails that are currently run through it apparently. And so it's a piece of property that, from our perspective, it would be valuable to us in terms of open space for trails and things of that nature. And the buyer, we had meetings with the broker and the owner. They're interested in selling it to someone to keep as open space. The state gets first right of refusal, so we went to the state and asked them if they're interested. They've indicated that they are. The owner needs to reach out to the state to negotiate that whole thing. So we're kind of, at this point in time, in a step back role to see exactly what the state can do. Obviously, it helps us the most if the state picks it up, and they seem interested in doing so. So it would be really a kind of a strategic piece of
Great.
open space for us if we're able to do it. So we'll continue to watch that closely. This is a piece of information, Westward Road from Old North Racebrook to Rimmen. There's that little piece of Westward Road has now been designated as a scenic road.
By who?
By the Board of Selectmen. Through the conservation initiated a application for designating it as a scenic road. The intent or the motivation behind that was really to limit. What happened is somebody happened to see a whole lot of orange ribbon on a number of the trees there. And it happened to be in the spring when the cherry blossoms were out, and it really is a stunning sight when they are. So they went through the application process, and subsequently that was done. It bears mentioning, we had Warren, who's our tree warden, here to make sure that everyone understood and the public understands, and it has been communicated that it doesn't really change what UI can do in terms of their maintenance. If the tree is infringing on UI lines or it's considered to be a safety hazard, they're going to cut it down. So it doesn't infringe on that, but it does mean that you have to go through some extra steps if you, for example, want to widen the road or do something along the lines of a construction standpoint on the road. Not likely that we would, considering it's a very small piece of road, but just thought it'd be something worth mentioning to everyone. And at the last Board of Selectmen meeting, a company called Butterfly proposed an energy plan. One of the initiatives we've had here in town, and we've been working on for the better part of six months or so, is to put together a comprehensive energy plan for the town and for the town buildings and things of that nature. This company has a very innovative and creative approach to an energy plan in that they would use renewable solar energy at the transfer station and at another site within town. They mentioned the 12 acres at the country club. Doesn't have to be there. I understand that that's very sensitive, but in what that would enable them to do is to deliver power. They would then contract with UI for lines and things of that nature, but they would become our power company. They would deliver that energy, which would be generated through renewable sources, to all our town buildings, and as well as offer up to 400 residents the opportunity to do so. It would reduce our bill by about 10 or 15%, and there's some land lease monies that we would get, so there's certainly some benefit to the town from a financial standpoint, which is the reason I mention it as a plan. And, but more importantly, from what the other advantage that it offers to those who want to subscribe is that they would also replace your current mechanicals. We would replace all our boilers here with heat pumps, you know, ultra-efficient type equipment, so as to reduce the amount of energy we use, as well as using it from, sourcing it from a renewable source. So obviously it entails solar, so it entails property, it entails a solar farm. We have 2 proposals for solar now at the transfer station that we will be considering, and we'll be determining what we need to do from this. But this one was just very, very innovative. It started even more innovative than this, but this is what we've come down to. We'll continue discussing with them to go over some of the technical and legal type concerns that go on, but I wanted you to be aware of that, the fact that that's something that's on the table at this point. So, and I think that about does it. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Any liaison reports from anyone on anything?
I'll just say, you know, Vonda over at Beecher has been working on the budget. So they're trying to, I think I had to miss Monday's Board of Ed meeting where the Board of Ed was going to discuss what, you know, any additions to Vonda's proposal. But at least I just want to let people know they are working on it. It's not that they've been sitting back, so I think they've been doing a good job. I don't know what the final proposal will be. We'll find out in, I guess, February, January? I don't remember when we're meeting with them, but they are working on it. I think that's good.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, I will
Motion to adjourn.
make a is there a second?
Second.
There she goes. Everybody in favor? Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Thank
Safe,
you.
healthy,
Thank you.
enjoy your families, everyone at home.
Thank you. Same
Let
to
it be a
everyone.
peaceful season.
And healthy.
Indeed.
Yeah.